must be wrong. You think I'm blind. So much for trust. So much for trust. You paint your lies in black and white. Your colors show more than you.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today.
Pleasure.
It really is an honor to speak to you. And this past year has been so difficult for everybody. And as we know, especially for the music industry. And I'd love to know from you as a musician, as a performer, what it was like to not be able to perform and to do what you love and what you've been used to doing your whole life. And also what you did during this time. How did you cope with it?
Well, we've been in the lucky situation of actually being in the middle of the production when the pandemic hit.
Okay.
So like all my fellow musicians here in the band, we did not even realize that there's something bad going on in the world, because we've been we've been, as always, in lockdown in the studio.
You were in your own world already.
We were in our own lockdown, as in every production. You kind of are in your rabbit hole for 3 months, and this is our rabbit hole here.
Oh, that's awesome! That's where you are right now.
Yeah, that's my studio here in the island, and this is where we normally record the album. And yes, I mean we after production day we sat there like at 2 o'clock in the morning listening to the news and watching German television, Spanish television. You go through BBC, so you're watching CNN, and you try to get the picture what's going on in the world, you know, read between the lines, because each and every news was different. But there was one common thing: there's a bloody pandemic going on. People were scared to death, and everybody thought, okay, we'll all be dead by tomorrow. So looks like over here in Spain, because the Canary Islands are part of Spain, everybody had this, oh God, the new Spanish flu again, you know, and will probably be.
Well, I don't mean to laugh, but
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, everybody thought, okay, half of Spain will be eradicated by tomorrow, period. And so everybody had this big stomach thing going on. Shit, you know, don't go out there.
Anxiety, yeah.
Yeah, but for us, actually, that whole pandemic thing, the feeling that I just described, it hit like long after the pandemic was actually being announced. So for us, it was like, okay, you're here anyway, so whatever goes on in the world doesn't affect us, as always. In the production,
so we're actually pretty lucky to be in that situation when the pandemic hit.
Yes, we've been in our whole own bubble, as always, and even if there would be World War III and the Germans again invade the moon, whatever, we don't care. You're in the studio, you know.
Absolutely.
Okay, it would affect me because I am a German. Okay, that was a bad example. Forget it.
Yeah. Well, you guys are getting ready to release the new album, self-titled album, and I understand that's the first full-length studio album with the reunited band members. So Helloween fans are extremely excited about this, and I'd love to know what the process was like of composing and producing, recording with so many people involved, and specifically for you, because you're sharing your singing duties now.
Yeah, well, honestly, for me, as the guy who had to sing all the songs from Michael Kiske, from the first, from the old singer, I am super relieved, because that means for me, live, I'll never have the bad time again to try to sing his songs as good as he can. It's impossible. You cannot sing his songs as good as he can, because he's one of the world-class singers in his genre. And we learned to get to know, not only get to know each other, but even to love each other in a very platonic way, certainly, because I'm married, I got kicked, I'm not gay. But nevertheless, it was love at first sight when Michael and I get to know each other. First you think, okay, that's a competitioner, and that's a new singer, and he thought, okay, that's Andi. He stole my job back in the days, and he had to learn that I did not steal his job, because Michael Wyckoff, the guitarist, was telling him to leave the band, not because of me,
Absolutely.
because I was called actually 5 days later. if I would finally be able or ready to join the band, blah, blah, blah. Which I did. When I let the guys listen to my songs, I realized when they listened to my songs, there was this gleam in their eyes, like, wow, fucking great, we love what you do. And then I actually thought myself, okay, which is my band now? These Helloween guys who love the songs I do, or my old band, like Pink Cream 69 was the name of my old band, who didn't want to play my songs. So for me, the choice was easy. And then you end up with like 20 plus years later, you end up with the old singer in one band, and you realize, okay, this is actually now a very good friend, and I'm a bit sad. We're both sad, Michael and I, because that would mean for the last 20 plus years we could have super friends to each other, but this was taken away from us because we'd always seen ourselves like as competitioners.
Right.
And now suddenly in the band, oh, my mom.
Just
Leave
a
me
second,
alone,
Mom. Hi, Mom.
It's always the same. She never calls me, but when I'm in interview, then everybody calls.
Yeah, that always happens when you're in the middle of an interview.
Don't we hate friggin' Murphy? Murphy's Law is it's really, I hate it.
But anyways, that's amazing. So you guys were able to make that connection eventually after all these years. That's pretty amazing to hear, actually. Thank you for sharing that story.
Well, it's not normal, put it that way, because normally your ego, or my ego, I'm a Leo, and Leos are having big egos, and I know Michael Kiske is having a big ego as well. But when you realize nobody's actually trying to scratch at your ego or jump on your face or whatever the right description would be, you realize there's no harm from the other. Actually, it's vice versa. It's a big help. So if we talk about live, for example, we were able to perform 3-hour shows through all over the planet, and the singers had a great life because you only have to sing half of it. So that's a perfect. You have 1.5 hours to sing, and during a 3-hour shows, you have so many breaks, and I definitely do enjoy to go backstage, watch the band. I watch my band. But I'm backstage and I can have a drink, I can have a smoke, and can enjoy the big F out of it, you know? So it's fantastic. I mean, yes, it's exactly as we hoped that it would be, but you never dare to dream because you're superstitious. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
and we got to listen to a couple of singles, and they sound really epic, and I think that they're everything that Helloween fans are expecting. And I'd love to know what else do you have planned for the near future that fans can know about right now?
Well, actually, we're just in the preparation to make the show bigger, and because we had to postpone it twice already, and then we announced it for 22, and it looks like the people dig it super nicely. So we have to find the biggest concert halls on the planet.
Oh, no big deal.
Wow. So, but the bigger the stage is, the more show you bring on stage. So yes, we are preparing to have like the big show, and we have to prepare for the super big shows, like the stadium shows, which is fantastic, because I mean, when you're there to actually be able to plan Budokan shows, this is like, Budokan is the dream come true, for example. It's like, for Americans, it would probably be the Square Garden in New York. Right.
That's fantastic.
The old saying, you once play Square Garden in New York and then die. Then or once play Budokan.
That's where you go to die.
Well, it would not be the worst death, put it that way.
Exactly.
Climbing the stage, Budokan in Japan, biggest thing you could ever play, and then die. Well, looks like a more or less fulfilled life then.
Well, I also noticed that. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that's only bullshit talking. Certainly, I would like to go on living a little bit more and enjoy the success we have.
Absolutely. So I did notice that the songs, they're written individually by band members, and they don't seem to have collaboration of other band members. Is there a specific reason for that?
You mean collaboration in a matter of like co-writing or?
Exactly.
No, there is always co-writing because
Okay.
yeah, I mean, people think that when you read like this or that song is composed, for example, by Andi Deris, that does not mean that I have written each and every solo and arrangement, and I mean, no, it's the initial idea is from Andi then, or from Michael, or from whomever has written the song. But that's why you go into a pre-production. We went for 2 months. We went to pre-production in Hamburg, in the very studio where the old drummer recorded his drums. We even bought back the old drums from Ingo, from our passed away, deceased drummer, and it was a fantastic feeling. You were like in the old holy halls of the Chateau Studios in Hamburg, and yeah, you had the ghost of your old drummer. So even he was even he participating in songwriting. No, what I want to say, in a pre-production, you're stuck in the studio for 2 months, and you try to bring each and every, even stupid idea, onto the table. I mean, a stupid idea might be the most genius idea you ever had. It's not for me to decide if my stupid idea that I have in the very moment is a stupid idea or not. That's something that my boys have.
This idea.
Exactly, simply because I think it's a stupid idea that might not. Or I mean, my best explanation is, from 10 number 1 hits, there's only 1 I like. So there's 9 number 1 hits that Andi would not realize, not see, not grasp, not get. So who am I to decide if it's a great idea or not? If you have a band, that decision is made by the majority. And if from 7 people, 6 are shouting, "Wow, fucking great," then it's probably freaking great, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So, and this is very important, that you have the boys in the band who then turn your own song into something even better. It's your baby anyway. I mean, if you write a song, you fight for it. It's your little baby. You know. And but I soon, on everybody in the band, I mean, we're old enough. We learned that you should actually try to give that baby to the people you trust. So you give it to the kindergarten, so to say. You trust, and the kindergarten is making like a good job for the education of your little baby. So we still talk about music.
Okay, great.
But that works. So you got a lot of co-writers, but the initial idea is from you, so it should be you. You know.
Well, I'm very excited to listen to the rest of the album. And I'd like to talk a little bit about Brazil. The first time that you guys went to Brazil, I believe, was 1996 for Monsters of Rock. Yeah. And ever since, Helloween has always made a point to return to Brazil. And I'd love to know what your relationship with Brazil is specifically.
Well, funnily, I just had a interview with a guy from Brazil, and he asked me what was the nicest or most memorable thing I witnessed or I had in Brazil, and I said it certainly was the first appearance of Helloween in Brazil, 1996, and the Monsters of Rock Phillips, Monsters of Rock, Sao Paulo, because we've been called in Germany if we would jump into the Monsters of Rock, because I think it was Megadeth. Megadeth could not not participate because of somebody got ill or sick, whatever, I don't remember, but they couldn't play. So we had the spot then for Megadeth, and for the first time we were able to play in Brazil, even on the biggest stage. I mean, you know, Monsters of Rock, wow, that's a nice welcome. And we went there, and I remember we hit stage, and there was this guy announcer announcing the band, because of Megadeth not being able to play, and please welcome the replacement band called Helloween. And suddenly the whole stadium exploded. So that's the first time we've been in Brazil, and that's when we realized, wow, they know us in Brazil.
We're huge in Brazil, actually.
we were super huge, and this was not to be expected. And the first song we played was "We Burn" from the Time of the Oath album, and it was probably the worst version we ever played because we could not hear ourselves. It was only people, only shouting Helloween, Helloween, everything.
That sounds like a show in Brazil.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, this is.
And even in the live DVD, there's a lot of footage from shows that you did in Brazil. You were also in Rock in Rio. You did the festival in São Paulo, and there seems to have been like a lot of memorable moments.
Yeah.
We'd love to know, did you have some crazy or wild stories while you were there? Anything you want to tell us?
Well, there's lots of little crazy stories. I mean, I do remember, for example, we'd been on promotion in Brazil, also Sao Paulo, and Andre Matos gave us a call if we would like to join for tonight's show, because he is playing in the what's the name, in Sao Paulo, and that old concert hall where we have been playing twice.
I should probably know.
Via Funchal.
Okay.
And a super nice concert hall. Unfortunately, they replaced it now with something different. But it used to be a super nice concert hall. And Andre Matos was playing with in Via Funchal. So Waiki, we were in promotion. So we said, okay, we're gonna say hello tonight, and yes, we're gonna play Eagle Fly Free from Helloween with Andre Matos in his show. And I remember when I was backstage, I just wanted to go up the stairs into the backstage area, outside still, and fans saw me from far away and shouted like, "Andi, Andi, Andi." And I thought, okay, I'm not so often in Brazil, and there are like 200-300 people here. Maybe I should say hello and give some autographs.
Okay.
Just being. And well, to cut a long story short, I was there for 2.5 hours and nearly missed the show because I was constantly chatting, photographing, laughing, autographing, and there were more people suddenly backstage, and it looked like a never-ending story. So probably the first 200 were there.
Brazil is a huge fan of Helloween. And people are expecting this interview a lot. Even though I'm in LA right now, this interview is for Brazil. And I'd love to know, do you have any message for your fans in Brazil? We're about to wrap up.
Well, cut a long story short, they presented me and us the biggest welcome you can have in the world. So they'll always have a special place in our hearts. I know I'm speaking for my boys too, because we were struck by awe, having tears in our eyes. And I remember it's not only been once in the, for example, Monsters of Rock in Sao Paulo. Each and every time you go to Brazil and you see the reaction of the people, it's like, it's very, very, what's the right word? I mean, you know, seeing big boys, metal bands with tears in their eyes is not very metalish. But then again, when you're standing on stage with tears in your eyes, then you did something right, or the people down there.
It's what you get from the music. It's the emotion that you get from the music, and I feel like Brazilian fans are very connected to the music.
Well, they give it back to us, and this is something wonderful, and this is something you don't witness in many parts of the world, but in Brazil it's always like that, and this is something probably I never said thank you for that, but maybe that's the right time to say thank you for all these feelings we have in Brazil, and for always feeling super welcomed there. And it's also not only the people down there, it's also the people around us or backstage, all the Brazilian people who work for us. It's always a pleasure. It's always been great. And without them, we'd not be there. You have to mention that too. So it's not only us doing a good job. I think the best job do the people down there, because they actually let you know why you're on stage after all these years, you know. So it's the biggest reward you can have. We don't talk about money here. The biggest reward you can have as an artist is when you're standing up there and you're having tears in your eyes because of the people down there. I mean, that's fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for your kindness and for your time today. I'm very excited to listen to the new album. We all are. And hope to see you in Brazil soon.
Yes, absolutely. Fingers crossed. Wait a minute. Fingers crossed.
Yay. All right, Andi, thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Yes, I will. I head down to the beach now.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
You're my last interview. So, thank you
so much. Appreciate you.
You too. Bye-bye.
I must be wrong. You think I'm blind. So much for trust. So much for trust. You paid your life.